Hey guys, it is Chad here from the Battle Warrior Podcast, and I'm just letting all you listeners know that the Battle Warrior Podcast episodes will be available across all podcast platforms, guys. So sit back, relax, and enjoy this brand new episode today. Three, two, one. Hey guys, welcome to Battle Warrior Podcast here, guys. We are starting to crack into some of these brand new episodes of a special event that's coming down the road here. And this guy is actually one of our speakers that's going to be at the Break Free Summit here, guys. So I've been a guest on his show. We loved each other. I want to bring it back on my end, and I'm sure there's going to be more guests or more shows coming down the road here, guys. But this is Chris Anderson. He's the founder of Elevate Media Group. He's the podcast host of the Elevate Your Brand show, and it's all about, I'm going to let you explain it, but it's all about promoting your brand globally.
Yeah. And just really getting out there. We all start somewhere. And we all need to take the steps to elevate where we're at. We can only do that learning from others and from where they've been. And so, bring on a lot of guests talking about their journeys. And then this year, actually incorporating solo episodes where I share a little bit more in depth about topics about my journey, just for people can hear more from me. And, again, it's just all about putting out more content, which helps elevate your brand. So,
Well, and let's dive into that because between obviously we've been talking about this event that we're holding, and we're not gonna sell this event here, guys. It's naturally gonna sell itself. But when it comes to this industry, and I had the conversation literally with one of my mentors while I was at the gym today. Because people keep suggesting, hey, when we're in this industry, they're like, hey, dude, you learn so much. Why don't you coach? Why don't you coach? Why don't you coach? And I'll be brutally honest. I said no many times because I didn't want to be during this COVID launch where everyone's sitting on the couch and and I'm not going to get rude or mean how I word it this way, but you know what I mean? Because
oh
we
yeah.
do all that. Everyone's sitting on the couch watching TV and they're a life coach, stuff like that. So
Mm-hmm.
I shied away from it. And the original question with him was, I'm like, why is Dan Henry so big? And you know who Dan Henry is with all like the Grant Cardone and all that stuff.
Yep.
And I wrote back, I said, why is it? Because I'm thinking it's gonna be this huge complex thing. He's like, he sells a course, you buy it.
Yep.
You sell a course and you buy it. I'm like, and I wrote back, I'm like, really? It's that simple? He's like, yes. You sell a course, you buy it. And I'm like, really? And we start talking into stuff like we're doing. And you and me both have this mind where it just spins and spins and spins. And I'm like, how the hell do we start this? And it's exactly what you said. Just get in. So
Yeah.
explain to my listeners the analysis paralysis. Let's just get all the BS away, but like explain to them that you don't want to be prepared. Not say don't, just the prepare of.
Yeah. And, kind of to jump on that is I've heard interviews in my own kind of journey is messy action's better than no action. Because no action, it's like a rocking chair. You can sit on it, you can use it all day, but it's not going to take you anywhere. And so just getting out there is really the biggest hurdle for a lot of people. Then, like you said, the analysis paralysis, people just continue to think and come up with ideas and, okay, I need to do this and this and this and this. Okay, so with that part, I need to do this and this and this and this. And then, by the time they actually start doing something, it's a year later, 2 years later, or they're like, oh, things have happened, so never mind. And so, yeah, just taking that first step towards that goal, like that's the biggest one. And for me, that was not just a step, but kind of just leaped off the edge towards it. When I quit my job right when the pandemic hit to go into entrepreneurship with no idea what I was doing or how to do it. And so, yeah, just whatever that looks like for you, burning the boats or just taking that first baby step or even crawl, forward. you just got to head in that direction and figure it out as you go. And that's why it's so important to lean into people who've been there, who've done that, who can teach you and guide you along that way, so you can miss some of those roadblocks and obstacles and slip ups that we have found along our path,
Yeah.
which will expedite your journey. So like
Absolutely.
as guides and coaches, like our goal should be for our students to surpass us, because, or at least get to the destination a lot faster than we did. So that's kind of like, you just got to take the first step and yeah, and just find people who've done it and learn from them and just stick with those people that have the results you want.
Well, and I'm looking at your book rack behind it. I'm sure there's one, probably Rich Dad Poor Dad behind you. I'm sure it's probably back there somewhere.
Yeah, I
Uh,
think yeah, it's down here somewhere.
and there's three words that you're talking exactly about in this 95.5 thing. And you're smiling because you probably know where I'm exactly going, where 95% was do, learn, define.
Mm-hmm.
And 5% is define, learn, do.
Yep.
And exactly what you're talking about is go find a mentor and learn it. And where
Mm-hmm.
did you learn that setup?
Yeah. So, just my journey, I leaned into as far as podcasting, and that's what you're asking, like who I found as mentors to teach me, right? Yep. So, in the podcasting side, Lewis Howes. I don't know if you've heard of Lewis Howes, a School of Greatness. Just really kind of sparked my interest. He was kind of the interest sparking idea of like, oh hey, podcasting, that's really cool. Like he's helping people, sharing stories, talking to other people. That's really neat. Like I like talking. I can talk to people. I love learning and talking to new people. So, okay, that could be cool to do. And then I saw that he had been doing it for a while and he had created a full-time thing from it, from a not super expensive course, just by staying consistent and improving and just, putting out good content. And I'm like, oh my gosh. And this is before pandemic hit. So this is before virtual was a big thing. I was like, oh my gosh, that's like it's doable. Like that's so doable. And I know I have something to share that can help people. And so that's what sparked me really like, okay, this entrepreneurship thing, like that's possible. And then I had some friends I met, they're doing network marketing and they were successful in it. And we got talking about it and just kind of, and they got me in person with Bob Proctor. If you know who Bob Proctor is,
Yep.
the late Bob Proctor, talking about vibration and everything like that. And just hearing that, and something just clicked with that. And then some stuff in life that just made me realize like life's too short to, be put in a box by a corporate entity that if I left would replace me. Like nothing against their character. It's just how business is. And I didn't want to just be a number, and I wanted more than what my degrees were going to get me, no matter how far I went in different levels. So, I would say Lewis Howes was a big, instigator in my passion. And then, my brother who runs a, incorporated 5,000 business, and has been successful, like looked up to him. And so really leaned into him and learned from him, and then found some mentors online, and just picked a couple and just looked and learned from them, and just kept taking one step at a time.
Yeah, and that's the thing that we're talking about, like the one step at a time. There's gonna be a lot of good and bads.
Yeah, it's up and
But
downs. I literally told myself today, one step at a time. Just keep one step at a time. Like I've been doing it. Elevate's been around for a year. I've been on the journey for 3 now. Well, 3 coming up in April. And today, even like I just got frustrated, and I just kind of got like a negative mindset starting. And I'm
mhm.
like, dude, look where you came from. Look where you started. Look where you are now. Look where you're headed. One step at a time. Take a breath, one step at a time. So it doesn't ever, I don't think it ever necessarily goes away. We just get better at shortening that distance between getting frustrated and down on ourselves to flipping that mindset more. So like for me today, I was just getting just all in my head. And I'm like, dude, one step at a time, keep moving forward, and, change that right there.
Yeah, and I want to tap into two branches here
Mm-hmm.
because I don't think people realize how simplistic it is to get into podcasting. And I'm gonna say
Right.
simplistic just as a starting point.
Mm-hmm.
And then after that, I want to venture into how everyone's webbed. So like Ed's connected to this guy, Lewis is
Mm-hmm.
connected to this guy. So let's first branch
Yep.
into the podcast. And so let's
For
break
sure.
it down in general. I know I started during the pandemic. You started during the pandemic. I had a mic set up like this. For some odd reason, my computer's just working just fine with these headsets. Um, in general, what is the basics at the beginning of what people need for podcasts?
Yeah. So I mean, you can start recording with just whatever laptop you have, whatever computer you have, and the webcam there, and your headphones, Apple headphones, whatever. You could start that. I started with a $60 mic and kid headphones that my wife had got me because they're Captain America for a birthday, as like a little joke. But I wore them because that's all I had. I don't recommend it. What I recommend now, because we help launch shows into top 5%, so it looks a little bit different. So we don't recommend starting with just whatever, because we want people to succeed and we want them to see the piece of the puzzle the huge piece of the puzzle it is to build a successful online brand. So we recommend investing a little bit into your equipment up front, because it does truly matter in the long run. And if you can get ahead of the game, ahead of the competition, ahead in your market by having good audio to start, it's going to set you apart from everyone else starting at the same time as you who might not want to invest in the business, in the brand that way. So you can start, with whatever you have. And if the tech is going to hold you back, just start then. But we recommend, video podcasts for one, because video is so crucial in building your brand and building that trust online now. And two, start with good audio over video if you had to choose. So start with your regular webcam on your computer if you have to, but invest in a good mic. And so, dynamic, Shure mic like I'm using is what we recommend. It's good for most podcast situations, most people's situations. You can configure your room better to reduce echo. It's under $300, and some people might be like, oh my gosh, that's a lot. But think, if you're doing this correct and you've done the right steps, you should have an LLC. You should have a business bank account already. So take some of that, invest in that mic, and it's a write-off. Again, this is just opinion, talk to your CPA, all that fun stuff. But what we did is a write-off for our business. It's an investment. And so when people now hear good quality audio, they're going to stick around more than if it wasn't. Then the next step is just good content. So yeah, we recommend starting with a good mic, invest there first, and you can grow. Like I said, I started with my computer webcam, with kid headphones, with a $60 mic from Amazon, and people complimented it. And then when I switched, I saw the difference. And so, and now, right now I'm just in my home office, but we have a production studio now with multiple lights, multiple DSLR cameras that we're going to start using. It's a step at a time.
Yeah, and now we're talking about providing good content
Mm-hmm.
and rolling into that. Yes, we have the studio. Yes, we have this, but I want to go at the 180-foot view of the masterminds to where everyone knows everyone.
Mm.
So
Yeah.
that's one thing I learned, that there's like this master spider web that you don't really realize until you're about like 50 to 100 episodes in.
Mm-hmm.
And everyone's part of this group, this group,
Yep.
this group, and I'm not going
You
to connect
start
the
seeing the
dots.
same names.
Yep. And I think it was, I don't want to say like the Sean Whalens or whatever, but like the Ed, the Andy, the Seans, the
Mm-hmm.
Lewises.
Yep.
There's a
Ed
few other ones.
Milet.
Yeah. There's a real estate dude that's out in Vegas that's short with kind of like half shaped head. And I can't think of what his name
Oh,
is.
I know who you're talking about though. Yep. He's
But
um
like a Filipino dude, but
yep. I know
yeah.
exactly who you're talking about when the
Is it
name escapes me.
Ryan something?
Ryan Pita or something.
Yeah.
Yep.
And we're sitting there going, instead of like sitting there looking at it, say, oh my God, they're at the keynote level. Let's break it down this way. And I'm explaining my mentality and the reason why I'm doing the summit with this and where I'm going through with this question. Guys, like, look at that situation and say, okay, he's here. How did he get here? and who is he
Yes.
connected to?
Yep.
So do you look at all your guests that way of saying, okay, not networking with the guests, but just like break it to a basic level, say, okay, hey, just make sure we're take care of this guest. Great.
Yeah. Yeah. I think, and that's I'm not saying any of my guests have been bad. Some haven't been the best fit, just for my show, but they weren't bad guests per se. Like one of my first guests ever was, and now his name escapes me, doggone it. But he was literally on, 2-minute drill with, names are just not with me today. My goodness. With the guy who was, what's his darn name? I'll look it up. But anyways, I'm just one step away. I'm one step removed from Grant Cardone. Same guy. Been on stage with Grant Cardone. Been, personally has done lives with him constantly. And like that's how close you are. Now, early on, I didn't do as good a job as staying connected with some of those guests. Like I wish I would have. But I do the best I can to stay connected with my guests, help them how I can, direct people towards them who they could benefit, things of that nature. Because it's all about who you know. Because you never know when that next person you talk to, and then you reach out and say, hey, I'm just throwing a line out here. I'm looking to connect with Grant Cardone, example. Does anyone know anyone, or does anyone have any connections to him? I'd love to at least, be able to sit down for 30 minutes with him and ask him, about his journey. And it just takes that every now and then. And as you grow, to someone saying, hey, yeah, like I know someone who knows him personally. Let me connect you with them and see if they can get you 30 minutes or something. And that's the big thing. And then of course, in return, once you're connected with people and someone's reaching out, you can do the same thing, to give back. So yeah, I don't necessarily say, okay, there's Dwayne Johnson, The Rock. Who knows him? Like I don't draw it back that much because I don't have the time to do that. But like as we work our way up, in our positioning, we're going to get closer to that. And the big thing people forget is just to ask. They don't ask, so they don't know that their cousin, on their dad's side actually went to school with, whoever, Mark Cuban, whatever it is. Like,
Yep.
you don't know because you don't ask.
Well, and that's the thing I'm looking at now. And I'm gonna just we're doing an ask basic for I'm podcasting guys, so we're asking for guests. My favorite line is, hey man, I see your profile, whatever. I have specifically on my phone, but top of my head, it's like, hey, I seen your profile. This is phenomenal. I would love to do share either podcast episode with you or create you as a guest, whatever, vice versa. And then now at the end, when I looked at my groups is, I am also taking guest spot bookings. So if you know anyone else that would fit, I would fit well for whatever, please let me know. And I actually picked up shows that way.
Yep. Yeah. And it's also like, there are a lot of like podcast network online to find guests. That's where I started, that in Facebook groups. Now I have people emailing me all the time. Hey, can we be on your show? Can this person be on your show? I've turned some people away, unfortunately, just because we're booked out like multiple months in advance for it. But like with that being said, there are free places to go to find really good guests. And then there are some that are online that you might have to pay a little bit, to find better guests. You gotta walk that line of when it's okay to invest, profit margins, all that thing. But like sometimes you need to invest, and sometimes that is cost and money, not just time, to be seen or be connected to someone. A lot of the big shows, Brad Lee, I know you have to pay to be on a show most of the time, unless like it's a collaboration. But if like you're not as big as them, you have to pay, because I know people who've been on that show who've had to pay. So like, and that's okay. Like people are like, oh, he pays, I would never pay. I said that. I said I would never pay or make someone pay to be on the show. Sometimes I do. If they're reaching out to me, especially if it's like a marketing network, like I have a special kind of system process that if it's like a marketing network, and a lot of times people are trying to pitch their books or their events, and that's great. That's fine. So if they're already paying a marketing company to find them marketing opportunities, why shouldn't the host ask for a little bit, and it's nothing crazy. It's under $100. I don't ask an arm and a leg. Well, why not? You're giving them advertisement to an audience that's ready for what they're wanting. So what's it worth to them?
Well, and honestly, I call it the bypass. And I had a situation like this a couple of weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
Phenomenal guest, phenomenal guy. We sometimes you do a pre-book and sometimes you do, like we do. Like we already had it recorded a couple of weeks ago in general,
Yeah.
but if you don't have a rapport with someone, sometimes a lot of people do a pre-record, say, okay,
Yep.
hey man, make sure it's fit, which is great. I love the system of that.
Yep.
Sometimes when you turn the camera on, it's go and you
Yep.
just go. That's just what you feel. But he's like, hey, I remember this blatantly. He goes, I'm one of the first few shows that actually declined Grant Cardone.
Hmm.
What? And we're not doing it this way, but they dig further into it and you dig just deeper into that. And he's like, you can record with my show, which would be, 6 to 9 months, whatever it is. And we're all that way where we're all pre-booked for a couple months. Or he goes, there's a fast lane. He goes, I can bypass all you if you pay, $70. He's like, I charge whoever it is that's urgent. And like you said, you pay this fee. He's like, all of a sudden I'll clear my schedule out and boom, we'll set a fee.
Yeah.
And I didn't know about this system until pretty much a month ago. And I'm 111 episodes in.
Yeah. Yeah. It's part of the business. And that, I mean, and more people like you said, you're 100 something episodes in. I'm almost 200 episodes in. It's like, okay, we've done the work. We've built that audience. We've, got to a certain place. Not that we're better than other people, but we've went through the trials and now we see our value.
Yep.
Now we see our show's value, and we understand our show's value. So like people want to be on the show. They're reaching out to you to market what they're doing. So you're giving them the benefit of free publicity, which is great, but it should work both ways. But like you and I, we just exchanged episodes. So it, is a fair trade in my opinion.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing. Like if someone asks you to be on their show as a guest, if someone asks you to speak at their event, most of the time there's going to be a speaker fee, right? Or at least, travel expenses paid or something like that. So if they're wanting you to speak on the show to bring value to their audience and, because they think you're a good speaker, a good guest, or have a good value, why would there not be some sort of speaker fee for that too? So people's got to see that and understand it from that perspective. See the value in your show or in yourself and kind of take that as you will.
Yeah, and that's the thing that you notice the further along the journey you get, and we're going to go at the top tier level. A lot of these people that are on these stages, I don't want to say I'm going to do a rough estimate. 95% of them have a podcast, if not more.
There's a reason for it. There's a reason for it. There's a reason we help launch podcasts for people because it is a video podcast is such a crucial part to branding and content strategies now. And it's going to continue to grow. Yes, maybe the number of podcasts are going to go down, but that should help the quality go up. And utilizing a video podcast beefs up your content strategy. And it's all about being seen and the content you can put out, the good quality content you can put out. Because if you can do that more than someone who's only putting out one post a week, 2 posts a week, you're going to win. You're going to get there quicker at least.
And I'm going to throw a more question here before we end in general, like kind of how veer it. I literally am listening to the Audrey Marcus show today about the Aaron Rodgers, was it whatever the Peru trip? We'll just use whatever he's doing outside of that. And you don't hear about Shopify or Spotify. Wow, guys, my tongue is sticking. You don't hear about the go download me at Spotify. You don't go download me at Apple. It's strictly in a click because I get it and you get it. It's, hey, go visit my show on YouTube. Go visit my show on YouTube.
Yep.
The funnel's 100% in the video.
Yep. Yeah, because it's funny you bring that up because February 2023. So we're recording this in the middle of January. February 1st, YouTube is going to start monetization of its shorts, the short clips, the reels of YouTube, basically. So they're going to start monetizing it just like Instagram does, and just like Facebook does. So that's, again, why video podcasts, look at the successful people, what they do. They wouldn't just implement a podcast to waste time. And you're like, well, they're at a higher level. Yeah. But if you can do one recording and get multiple pieces of content from it, like that one cuts down the time it takes you to create content, and you can extend what you're doing and how many times you put out there. So why not do it? And it builds your trust with people. It warms people up. It's literally like the top of your funnel because you're giving so much value. And yeah, direct them to YouTube because that will monetize itself once you get so many views. Whereas podcasts, you get so many views, it's not going to monetize yourself.
Yeah, here's
You'll have
20
to
bucks.
find,
Here's 30 bucks.
yeah, exactly. You'll have to get sponsorships, which is more
Yeah.
work, but YouTube would
Yeah.
literally just say, hey, you had so many views, you're going to get X amount of dollars. And it'll add up over time. So that's, sending them there, top of the funnel, and then you just funnel them down from there in your videos. Click here, for whatever it is.
Yeah, and that's, I don't want to say it this way, but I want to end it because we had so much value in this. And guys, the value is not going to end because he's a surprise guest on the summit coming down the road. And I'm going to say it this way, but we are going to launch this before that summit's out. So I want to tell everyone straight out, if you want to learn more about it, go to the summit for sure, no matter what. But in general, I'm sorry, the summit's called Break Free Summit, guys. It's my own summit. I'm completely forgetting about it. But go to visit the Break Free Summit. If you don't pay attention, go visit my stuff, and we can throw everyone on there. In general, to the end question, where can all my listeners and subscribers and all that stuff go see all your phenomenal information?
Yeah, I'd love to connect with them on our YouTube channel. Elevate Your Brand, Elevate Media Group. And I'm sure I can get you the link to put in the show notes there. Or if you're on Instagram at chris.t.anderson. And yeah, I'm free to answer messages if you have any questions, and I look forward to connecting with some of you going forward, seeing how I can help.
Awesome, man. Thank you very, very much. Thank you for taking this beautiful Friday night where everyone else is partying. And guys, we are crushing some content.
Hey, I appreciate you having me on.
Absolutely, man. Thank you.